There
And
we go.
there you go.
Good to go.
And if you, we'll make sure you all get a copy of that at the end of the session.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can indeed. So moving on to just why accountants are prime targets. As Ian hit on, you've got such personal information that you keep for your clients, be it passports, bank statements, potential M&A that businesses might be doing if you're doing business advisory. All this information is very, very valuable to the cyber criminal gangs that are out there. Unfortunately, it's no longer the odd person that's trying to do this. These are sophisticated criminal networks who are targeting accountants. A quick stat would be that the ICAW says they think between 40 and 50% of accountancy firms will at least be a target of. The number of victims is hard to gain because obviously it's not something people sing about. But yeah, they're expecting close to 50% of accountancy firms will be a victim of this. To try and get that information from you, that can be for reasons such as corporate espionage, as somebody trying to find out about M&As that are going on, that's highly valuable information. Accountants that might also be passing on information to IP law firms, all this kind of stuff, the information that passes through your hands that your clients trust you with is why you are such a large target to, as I mentioned, these criminal gangs. Um, the main threats that we are seeing are sort of phishing, credential theft, and then unfortunately the big one is ransomware. We do work with a firm called Mitigo. Mitigo provide very high level and in-depth sort of counselling, counselling is not the right word, sort of um, advice to businesses to make sure they're as safe and secure as they can be. In a previous event that I'd done with the guys at Mitigo, one of their senior management team had to move away from the event due to one of their practices being hacked. I think it cost them in the region of £300,000. And the way they done this, they would leak the highly sensitive information to the biggest clients possible. So they would then go, look, we're going to reach out to business A, B, and C. We know they're one of your audit clients. We also know they're looking to purchase another business within the environment. And we're going to keep leaking this information until you pay us. And again, the reputational damage that can come with that is massive. So these are the areas that we are saying that you do really need to keep an eye on. That's not just ourselves, that's the ICEAW as well. And as I mentioned, the cost of this is going to be terrible, but your reputational damage from the information you can find on businesses that have come out from the accountancy sector and spoken about this, the minimum number of clients you would lose tends to be about a third. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I was to speak to our MD and say that I'd lost a third of our client base, I'm not going to be the most popular person within HD UK. So it's certainly going to have a massive sort of effect on the business. And if you're looking to sell, if you've been a victim of cybercrime and you're looking to sell your business to one of these consolidators within the market, again, that's going to hammer the value of your practice. So, moving on from why you are such a big target, we're going to look at the five pillars of cybersecurity. And from that, number one, identity and access. Who is actually able to access this key information that you guys have, and how can you stop that? The key one is something that you'll all use at different times, even though you might not realize consciously you're doing it. It's simple as multi-factor authentication. You get it doing online shopping. You'll get it when your banking mobile app that asks you to be in the screen, whatever it might be. This is something that we would say is paramount importance to all the practices that we work with, and it's one of the most common products within the bundles that we would sell to customers. Being able to secure your identity, even if your password is leaked, is massive. To just have that second layer of security and not just having somebody sort of running riot through your emails and be able to contact your clients and getting them to do things that aren't in the best interest of them, but looking like it's from yourself is certainly something that we would be saying is something of paramount importance. Device security is another one. You don't want to leave your laptop on the tube or on a train or wherever it might be. So ensuring your laptop and your phone is encrypted and patched as often as needed, and also updating that piece of kit. I know again it's rich coming from myself. The guys within our internal IT, I'm one of the last people to update my laptop or update my mobile phone for work purposes. It's just something that you should definitely be doing. And as I said, I know it's rich coming from myself, but making sure that your mobile phones and your laptops and PCs are encrypted to a really good standard, and if anything was to happen, such as if you were to lose it on the train or whatever it might be, that laptop can be shut down remotely to ensure that nobody gets access to it. The third aspect is network security. Now, I'm in and out of accountancy firms in person, God, at least 3 or 4 times a week generally. The biggest thing that we come up against is accountants that don't have a guest Wi-Fi network. That makes your network security really, really lax. You don't want to be giving somebody from outside your practice access to your entire Wi-Fi network. It allows people with a certain skill set. My colleague Andy, whose name I'm speaking under at the minute, is a previous white hat hacker. I have seen him hack vending machines within businesses. I've seen him log in and be able to see what's going from scanner to scanner. Now, Andy's not done this for the best part of a decade, but Andy's still able to go in and show this. If you think about somebody that's doing this for malicious reasons, then being able to get access across the same network as what the work you're doing is a massive, massive issue. So if there's one thing again that I would get you guys to take away from today is your multi-factor authentication. And if you don't have it within the office, have a guest Wi-Fi. You'll never know who might be sat out in the car park trying to watch different things happening and trying to hack into the business from there. So yeah, they're two of the key aspects that both Andy and myself, when we're in and out of these different practices, would be saying, yeah, definitely have this in place. And it's not going to be at a huge cost. These are a couple of pounds per person or for an additional Wi-Fi to be set up just to make you that secure. The reason I mentioned the vending machine, a company that shall remain nameless was hacked, and what they've done is they hacked the payments on the vending machines that was linked to the company's Wi-Fi, and they siphoned off all the payments from that vending machine. It's not a situation that you want to be in, and again, it shows those levels that these guys can work to within the sort of cyber criminal industry. Oops, my apologies. And then finally, monitoring response. This is, as Ian alluded to, we do have products that can massively help with this. One's called Soxy. So you want to be able to monitor and respond as quickly as possible. You want AI to be doing a lot of the work. You want humans to be doing the work that if somebody's sat within your system or something's triggered somewhere that doesn't look right, you can find it, cut it off, and make sure that response is as swift as possible, just to make sure that none of that data is stolen or encrypted. The last thing you want to do is shut your laptop on a Friday evening, go away for a beer or a glass of wine, whatever it might be over the weekend, and Monday morning come in and your entire client base is encrypted and you're not able to access anything and the ransom starts coming through. If you've got a solid 24/7 manned cybersecurity response team with AI driven software that works with it, that will certainly mitigate that response. We've seen it with a couple of our customers that didn't have it previously, and we've then been able to backfill that and then help jump on and make sure that they are as secure as possible. I'm just going to take a quick breather there. I don't know if anybody has any questions around any of sort of the five key pillars that we would advise you try and act on if you've not already got them in place.
No, we haven't had any questions on that, but if anybody does, please just use the question and answer pad. I'm looking at it as you speak, Kevin. Um,
Fantastic.
and I think, that was quite a succinct summary that you've just done there about security. And it always reminds me of one or two things, especially like the guest Wi-Fi. You never sort of think of that in your office. You give someone the password, don't you? And off they go.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. We see different things certainly when we look at what's going on in the dark web to make sure as we're up to date as possible with these threats. What they're getting to do is for it's about 50 quid a person, but they'll ask DPD to go in and take pictures of Wi-Fi, what an office looks like, and they can use such minimal information to cause such damage. So again, even going back to things like a clear desk policy, certainly in your reception area, and having as little information as possible, it's just small things that you can help reduce. And one of the key aspects that I've probably not hit home on just yet is a lot of this is human error. Nobody's perfect. If you're very, very busy and something's happening, will you miss it? All this kind of stuff. Certainly when it comes to some of where the attacks come from and that we're moving on to next, yeah, being as sort of diligent as possible, even when you're at your busiest time. For example, we seen a spike where sort of January time, they know how busy accountants are in the lead up to the end of January. So that's when they're trying to pick holes in it, and hopefully people will click on the wrong information that'll sort of let them through. So diving into sort of where attacks come from. As I mentioned, your external threats are going to be phishing, ransomware, and even your supply chain. It's going back a while now, but Zero were hacked, and through that, that allowed people into different elements. So when you log into Zero, the hack was already there, and these people are then able to come through via Zero and into your network and look in different things in different areas. They did circle that off and stop it very quickly. I don't think anything did come of it, but it does show that your supply chain is key. That's how M&S was taken down and the co-op. So this wasn't even something they were doing wrong. It was something one of their suppliers were doing wrong, and from there the hackers were able to get in and start doing the damage they done. For example, it's how I explained to my mum what I do for a living. She was devastated that she couldn't do her M&S online shopping. Explained to her that some of the bits of kit that we provide would have certainly mitigated that, if not stopped it outright. So there's some of the key threats that will be there. As I mentioned, ransomware is the big one. You don't want to come on a Monday morning and be told we want X amounts of pounds via Bitcoin generally for you to get back access to your data. And again, how much of the data is then going to be corrupted and are they going to send it all back? Obviously, you're not dealing with the most honest of individuals when you get to that point. The internal risks is far more where it comes to the human error, as I mentioned. So, are you clicking on an email that might be incorrect? Are you then forwarding an email to the wrong person and then that sort of leaks out through? Um, One of the biggest things that I noticed, it was actually from a competitor of ours, was the M in Microsoft was changed to an R and an N. So it looked legitimately like it was Microsoft. You would never have noticed it was in the middle of January. Clicked on the link and they made around about 25 grand of payments to the wrong Microsoft account. And it just shows if you're not on the ball, how simple just changing those one letter into two. Because when I looked at it, I was like, what are they trying to show me here? And changing the R and the M from the N in Microsoft, this poor company sent, I believe, between 20 and 25 grand in payments to the wrong company. And again, that's where the human element comes into it. It's be diligent as possible when you're going through all of this. Shadow IT, again, this is where my colleague Andy would speak to it far better, but it's where there's different products that can be bought very legally, but to do very, very bad things. They can sit in the background and they can be logged on by the click of a button. You don't see it there, and they'll sit there and they'll gather all the information that they want about you. And then they'll hit you and they think they've got the most valuable information, and that's when they'll start going. That's when you'll be ransomed and they say, do you want us to stop this or we're going to leak it to X, Y, and Z? So yeah, Shadow IT, my colleague Andy would have spoke to it slightly better, but I said it's software that's put in the background with you'll never know it's there, it'll never affect what you're doing until they start telling you that they've got all this information they need. Emerging threats, we've all seen AI, whether it's some sort of social media thing or you're looking at the news on Twitter and you think, well, how do I know what's what? They're now doing that and they're applying it to cybercrime. Some of the emails that I've seen come through where it is identical to what your client might send you. And again, that's what they'll do with the shadow IT. They'll watch these emails coming in and out. They'll go, right, that's definitely very valuable. They're making payments to this person. How do I copy this and say, actually, we're going to change our payment details. You've now to send it to this bank details unless you're very vigilant, the level that AI has got to, it's no longer a Nigerian prince offering you 10 million quid. It is absolutely identical to what your suppliers would be saying to you. I appreciate this is hopefully not putting the fear of God into you, but it's just to make sure that there are small things that you guys can do to negate this. And again, we'll move on to the do's and don'ts, which should hopefully sum that up for you. And then on-site threats, as I mentioned, guys coming in taking pictures. Um, there can be as simple as just speaking to a secretary on the door to work out as much as they can, or you could have people coming and doing meetings, plugging into different outlets and leaving in different technology. That's at much higher level. It tends to be sort of that's high level corporate espionage, but it is something to be aware of. Who's plugging in pen drives to different computers, all this kind of thing, because then at that point they can then infiltrate into your system. Um, but yeah, if there's any questions around that, again, I appreciate that might have put the fear of God into you. But yeah, if there's any questions, just please speak up. Fantastic. So this is where we feel we can help you far more and take away some practical advice rather than just telling you what you should do. The key one, as I mentioned, use multi-factor authentication. Yes, it can be a little bit irritating. You've got to change it, find the number, all that kind of stuff. But it's designed for a purpose and it does keep you very, very safe at the front line. Again, I mentioned encryption. Make sure all your devices are encrypted, mobile, laptop, PC. the better your encryption, the harder it is for somebody to access that data. Use secure file sharing tools and monitor who's actually got access to that. If internally somebody doesn't need access to a file, don't give them it. It's as simple as that. Again, Tom can help if he wishes to answer on this. But the way we set up a lot of our hosted environments to different file sharing, we will make sure that only the right people have access to that. Again, it just mitigates information being spread or leaked without you guys knowing it. Again, I mentioned this one prior as well. Update your software promptly. I should take heed of the advice that I give out. It might take 10 minutes, but just go away, make a coffee or a cup of tea, let everything update, and then you know that it's patched and that is as secure as it can be. They're not doing this to be irritation. It means that they've found something, for example, Microsoft will update it because they found there's a hole within the software that they provide and they've sort of plugged that gap. So yeah, making sure that that is up to date as possible. Again, the verified payment instructions by phone, that comes back to the emails that I mentioned where AI generated email, they changed the bank details and they paid, again, I think it was in the six-figure sum to the wrong person. So yeah, making sure that if somebody does look to change bank details, verify it with somebody that you know over the phone, ideally somebody you've dealt with before you start making these payments. And then the biggie, train all staff regularly. It's something we do internally here at HD UK. And part of the software that we provide does come with training. Make sure your staff are on the ball as possible. Um, I know it's something that, again, takes up a little bit of time, but yeah, it's certainly something that as a business we'd be a massive advocate for. The don'ts, and again, there'll be, I say some of these with a wry smile, don't reuse passwords. Probably guilty of that. A really obvious one is don't store client data on personal devices. A big one of that is when people go home and work and they might have a family PC or a family laptop. You don't know what the rest of your family are doing. For example, different links to different websites via YouTube, all these things that kids might be doing, leading them to different websites that they're not going to be aware of. That's when you could then your personal laptop can be hit and all the data that's there that you might have relating to clients is then at risk. Come again, don't hit unexpected links, be that from clients or anybody. Even if it's somebody that you can trust, definitely don't be clicking on that unless you're 100% sure you know where it's going to take you. The use of public Wi-Fi again can be difficult if you're out on the road. You might pop into a Costa, get a coffee before or after a meeting. But if you're using public Wi-Fi, get a VPN. Again, it just secures you far, far more. And again, it's something that we provide if it's something you need more information on. But there's a whole host of VPNs out there that they're not going to cost an arm and a leg. And the money that you would spend on it to then protect yourself while you're out and about meeting clients, given how many of you guys will be on the road, please definitely do that. Um, and then don't install unimproved apps or extensions. I had to ask if I could employ Sky Go. I'm on the road a lot, want to watch the football in the evening when I'm in a hotel room. I did ask, can I download Sky Go from my work laptop? The answer was yes, but I was then very much reminded to ask our CTO or Tom or Andy, are these okay to have on my laptop? Um, which I now make sure I do. The website I've brought up here, I can share the link with everybody. This is real life threats for the last month, I want to say. Now, we're using US companies because we've done this once before and somebody knew one of the companies that were on this, which was made it a slightly awkward conversation. But that's how close to home we can get. So, yeah, we can share this website to you, and it's all the people that have owned up and spoke to or had to pay fines for being hacked through cybercrime. We can share that out with the copy of the webinar. But yeah, as I said, we've shared this before. We used US companies this time due to slight embarrassment of somebody knowing one of the companies that they worked with had been hacked and they were unaware of it. And finally, if you want to go through one of our free cyber assessments, please do let me know. We can look at how secure 365 is, do some vulnerability scanning. The most terrifying one when Tom was at an event with myself a couple of weeks ago down in London, is when we check the dark web for people and how many times things have been leaked for people who went, oh, we're too small, it won't happen to us. And that's then there, and we can find out what's been leaked, how many times, and how sort of important it might be to try and get that information off the dark web. Any policy and compliance gap analysis that might need done. and this has not been updated from that very trade show we were at because we're no longer at stand three. I'm in my living room. So yeah, that's everything from myself.
You will be at Accountex in May, won't you?
Yeah, we will indeed. Yeah, both Ziggy and Tom that are on the call as well will be at that stand. I don't think we've got a speaking slot at that one, but we spoke at a law event at Manchester, the Accountex North. And yeah, I'm actually going to speak to I think 40 members of CCH's client base on Thursday in Dunblane. Just basically going through the exact same thing. So people are worried about this. It's very topical. And yeah, if you need any more information, we're happy to. There's no fees at all. We're happy to help people. And then if you want to take any of the products, that's there as well.
So where can people contact you, Kevin, and
So if they contact
Ziggy and
me
Tom?
on, I can give you my mobile number. So that's 07481 927 396. Or really simply, kevin.lally, and that's Lally, at hduk.co.uk.
It's kevin.lally@hduk.co.uk.
That's
And
all.
Kevin, you offer this free cyber assessment. How does someone register for that? Just
If
contact
they
you.
get in contact with us, myself and Andy can do it online with them. It's really easy. We just need their approval to use a couple of small bits of information. We could do it without, but obviously GDPR, we can't pop in somebody's information without being allowed to do so. We pop in domain names, all that kind of stuff into the cyber assessment, take the client through all the different variations that might be an issue for them.
And Tom's put on the chat your email, hosted desktopuk.co.uk, but it's now
There's
hduk.co.uk.
two. Both
Oh,
make it through. Yeah, yeah. We've
okay,
got
take the
both.
short one,
Yeah,
folks.
that's
Yeah.
why I give the short one. Yeah, it's easier to write down. Yeah,
What's no? When I did a webinar with you recently, and I was talking to your MD at dinner the other week, and
yep,
you've got something specific in your software where you're monitoring ahead of any
yeah,
attack. Can you just explain that to me, guys?
yeah. So that's called SOCSIM. That is our 24/7 cyber manned. So 24/7
What
manned
stand for?
cybersecurity. So with that monitors your system. So if anything that looks like it shouldn't be there, or for example, Ian, if you were to log on from where you are now, but then all of a sudden you've logged on in Turkey at the same time, that's going to flag up and our system's going to go, that's definitely not right. And it'll lock both of you out, and then we'll work with you to make sure the right person gets in. That's one key aspect of it. If there's anything in the background that monitors that, and the AI learns, the more you use it, it understands more your working systems, and anything out of the ordinary, that'll be flagged to us. We can look at that in the background, and that's when a human will get involved. Should we need to, again, we'll cut off, lock the session out, push everything out that shouldn't be there, and then we'll allow you access again within normally about 10 minutes. But
That's
again, 10 minutes down rather than your data being encrypted in a couple of hundred grand, most people would say is that it's a better
that's
solution.
that's pretty unique to you, isn't it? Really, I
Yeah,
know they do it in Europe. Your Dutch guys do it, and what have you. But the SOC, the actual monitoring, 24/7 monitoring of a firm of accountants who's doing what and where
yeah.
is the real important bit in my view, because everybody else can do the follow up, but by the
Yeah, no,
time
absolutely. It's a combination of AI and humans because we are owned by the biggest MSP within Europe, a company called YourCloud. We've got their expertise along with their staff base as well. So we share all these software engineers, cyber engineers that can understand this way more than I could ever explain, to make sure that everyone is as safe as possible. So again, if you were
Tom
to log into Costa, I would say, oh, is this Wi-Fi secure? Are you using your VPN? Just small things like that to make sure that they are as safe as possible.
and Tom, you're nodding your head there, and I'm going to bring you into the
Yeah.
conversation now. So this SOX, this monitoring,
Yeah,
what's so special about it?
it's mightily impressive. So as I'm a technical resource, I see what gets alerted, what gets what gets brought to our attention, and it's things you wouldn't even think about. You hear about brute force password checks. So you've heard about. I'm going to try and break into Kevin's account, and I'm going to try every single word in the dictionary with a combination of letters. That's a fairly well-known way to break into things. But as Kevin mentions, it looks for impossible travel checks. So if you sign in 1 second in Surrey and then next year signing in from Turkey, it goes, well, that's impossible. It flags it. It will check if a large amount of data is being transferred off of a laptop or into a laptop. It will alert you. So it's looking much deeper than just your traditional breaking methods that are on the internet. It also is proactive in terms of it will look it out onto the dark web and identify if this attack source has been used in on other organizations, and we'll lock it down from there. As Kevin mentioned, it incorporates this AI layer, and it's very slick. So like the process is an alert is generated. AI will first of all address it and either lock it down if it seems a reasonable it's a high level alert, lock it down automatically, or it will then prompt the manned security desk to have a look themselves. So there's this step by step process of when an alert gets triggered, how many times it gets looked at by how many people, and then it will get brought to us for our attention, and then locked down from our point of view as well. It's incredibly slick. It really doesn't let much through the net, if anything, that I can tell. We've worked on our Soxine product for about a year now. We went through a lot of iterations of it, lots of different companies, and the one that we've landed on is mightily impressive in terms of the comprehensive security solution it offers. It's really quite cool from a technical point of view. I think it's really quite interesting. So yeah, it's doing a good job.
And the interesting thing about you guys is how many you work with hundreds of accountants in the UK, don't you?
Yeah, we've got about 900 businesses we work with, and about
900.
80% of that would be accountants across the sort of, we're just shy of 10,000 users. So yeah, the accountancy space is something that we know very well.
Yeah, and that's how I came across you a while back, didn't I, in the old days?
Yeah.
Anyway, what does it cost?
So for anybody that's been on the call today or anybody that gets a copy of this, that's £15 per user per month, rather than the 25 that it would normally cost. So we've taken a tenner off it for everybody that comes through the Succession partnership to us.
Yeah, and I think that's so important that you have that monitoring. And then the other thing that I picked up when I was talking was SEAM. Just explain that to me. So we got the SOC, that's the monitoring. What's the SEAM part of your
I
software?
can do this one. I can do this one. I've got a great analogy that I've been talking to customers about with this. So you're all familiar with antivirus, right? That's effectively the locks on the doors, right? So that's how I think of antivirus. SIEM, which is the Security Incident Event Management. That's it. That's SIEM. That's it. That's the acronym. Is the CCTV and the alarm system that is staring at the room that the door is locking. Then you've got the SOC, which is the Security Operations Center, which is the trained professionals manning the CCTV. That's the way I look at the SOC SIEM antivirus relationship,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
And no wonder so many accountants have taken you up on your offers for this
Yeah.
monitoring and so forth, because it's a great price. So we've got your contact details. If you've got any questions for the guys, just let us know as we come to the end of today's webinar. You're going to put a final slide up, I think, Kevin, aren't you?
I've not. That's my last one. I said Andy was meant to be me doing this, so I'm going to pass the blame on to Andy. But what I can do is everyone that's registered, we'll send them a follow-up email with my details, Andy's details, probably now Tom's details as well. We'll get him involved, and we'll ping over a copy of the webinar to them as well. We'll send the link to the webinar.
Well, I've got to say, that was great. I mean, the do's and don'ts, I think, are very practical for most of us listening here. And we all know what we should do, but what you do is provide that, as I like Tom's analogy of the locks, the CCTV, and the training of the people watching in your systems for that monthly fee is fantastic. So, guys, thanks ever so much for your time today. For
Yep,
all of you who joined us, we will record this session and send you a recording as well of it. And you've got Kevin's phone number and email. Either Tom, Ziggy, or Kevin will get back in touch with you if you want to get that free cyber assessment done.
absolutely.
Thanks a lot, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you too,
Absolutely, yeah.
lads.
Hope everyone has a good afternoon.
See ya.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
bye.
Take care. Bye bye.